Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's I, Taylor Field, and I am here today because it is another episode of Geekverse podcast. That is right. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of movies that have been pushed back and delayed, but thankfully, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We have a new movie review today in the form of Train to Busan Peninsula. Yes, the anthology film taking place as a non-direct sequel to the original Train to Busan has debuted, and I have seen it, and it is just it's gonna be a good cast. It's gonna be a good cast. So I'm very glad that you guys are here today, joining me. Let's see, housekeeping. We have new Patreon tiers. Just gonna put that out there. We have revamped them. They're great stuff. You can check that out, and we have the Geek Ultimate Alliance. Now, this is basically consisting of shows every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we have a bunch of great talent and great hosts that are leading those shows over at the Geek Ultimate Alliance. Literally something for everyone. We have a bit of Star Wars, a bit of Marvel, DC, all that kind of stuff. It is a great time. On top of that, we also have a lot of content in the Geekverse that we are working hard to get out to you guys, the fans. And we just want to say thank you to all of you guys, because of you guys, we actually landed silver, second place in Best of Podcast in Kelowna. Best local podcast. And that just means so much to us that you guys actually took the time to actually put your votes out and get us that second place. It means so much to us. So, any other housekeeping? Gosh, I can't think of anything, but I think that's pretty much it. I'm sure stuff will come to me as I go along. I'm just so excited to talk about this movie, Peninsula. So, Train to Busan was a movie that I originally saw like ages ago, and I thought, okay, this is a great one-off film, and probably most of these zombie films, they don't get sequels. They're one-offs. And I thought, this is definitely like it's a foreign film, and it just seems like a one-off, standalone kind of thing, and that's great because it was awesome. It had a claustrophobic feeling. It felt dark and eerie and crazy, and the way that they managed to capture and film the zombie as opposed to like the North American treatment of just your standard typical like zombie 28 Days Later or Walking Dead kind of take is it's unique. The way they filmed it, the way that they actually developed the zombie and had different, not like different weaknesses, but just a different aesthetic. And I did a review for a show on Netflix called Kingdom not too long ago. And that show, again, like, it was done with a very interesting take that makes the zombies unique. I'm saying unique so often. It's because it's true. It's just, it's a type of filming style that I'm not used to, but I love, and it is just such a nice fresh take on the way they do the cinematography and the development and the progression of the story. It's just so well done. So overall, when this movie was announced like a few months ago, I was totally blown away, and I love that they call it Train to Busan presents Peninsula. I just couldn't believe it. I watched the trailer. I was totally like in awe. Like, wow, this seems like a total like rogue or like kind of dystopian universe. And I thought, okay, well, the rest of the world is going to be infected, and Peninsula is going to be like them trying to escape to this island, I guess, to survive away from like the mainlands. But no, I got it wrong. So the rest of the world, well, that's getting into spoiler territory, so I won't get there yet. But I got to give the countdown. So my initial take and opinion of this movie is I quite enjoyed it. The ending was particularly maybe my only real con. It was definitely dragged out a little bit too long. But leaving the theater, I had like one headline in my mind, and that was Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift meets World War Z. That's what it feels like, and I mean, it was full of awesome car action. It was full of just awesome action in general. And again, the cinematography was through the roof. I feel like most of this movie was probably shot with drones because there was so much revolving scenery and cinematography. It was so just whimsical and beautiful, and I loved seeing it. It was such an awesome thing to witness. I went and saw it with my brother-in-law, and there was one other person behind us in the theater which is fair. I know like a lot of people are like still skeptical in the theaters. Totally respect that, understand that. For me personally, and it's my own conscious decision that just social distance, just be weary and be leery. But while the movie theaters are open, I'm trying to take advantage of it as much as I can. They're playing all the classics and all these now some new films. So I've been like starved from going to the movie theater, and I'm hungry for more big screen content. So I gotta get in on it, and this was just a great way to debut jumping back into the new feature films on the big screen. So, 3, 2, 1. We are in spoiler territory, ladies and gentlemen. So let me tell you, this movie, as I said, Tokyo Drift meets World War Z. It is so good. So many angles, so many zombies jumping and gliding through the air. It's awesome. So kind of where I was talking about before, where the first movie ends, and I kind of just assumed that the whole world was infected. It is not. It looks like that in Korea, they basically sealed off, and it seems like most of the world is fine, and Korea is just a quarantine zone. So the zombie outbreak that happened has been contained, and it's an anthology film. So when we kick off, it starts off basically where it follows another family, very separate, different from the first family in the original Train to Busan movie. And in this sense, you see, okay, you got like a military captain who basically went, rescued his sister's husband, and her kid, and they're driving down this road trying to escape, and the whole city is just kind of like, you can see in the distance, it's collapsing. So they drive by a couple people, and they pass this one family, and they just decide to leave them, and they keep going, and they eventually get to the ship, and they get on the ship, and then you see like, oh, the people are all down below, and it looks like the ship was going to Japan, but then they're rerouting it to Hong Kong. And it's this whole crazy dynamic, and the ship is being run by American military men, essentially. So that's all fine and dandy. And the downside is the man leaves his sister down below, and this boy is bouncing the ball, and you see this one guy who's obviously infected, not doing so good. And these zombies are more acrobatic than I could ever hope to be in my wildest dreams. Let me tell you, this zombie is like tweaking out, and he puts like one handstand, does like a weird cartwheel up jump position, and flips around into full standing position. I don't know how you do that. There's probably a lot of invisible strings involved that I couldn't even see. It is just absolutely bonkers. So it's whack. It is so whack, but it is so creepy. These zombies are terrifying. Like, again, when I say it's a different take than the standard North American zombie, it really is, and I love it. It's fresh, and it's exactly what the zombie franchise needs, in my opinion, is this different take and just the creepiness of it. They do touch upon how these zombies formed. I think it was like a bio lab leakage or something along those lines, but they showed like a brief couple of crazy scenes, like plane crashing down, all the world collapsing, and they decided that, okay, this is the last boat that's gonna get out of here because a bunch of people were infected on board, so we're gonna leave everyone behind. And they cut off Korea as it is. So they just left all those people there to die, which is just horrendous. And then you get the time jump of like 4 years into the future. And that's when it gets interesting, because we're following along with these characters. So basically, unfortunately, the military captain's sister and child dies, but the husband survives because the captain saved his life. They contained all the zombies inside the one room, and he saved the father. But now it seems like they're in Hong Kong. Things are really run down for them. They're refugees, trying to get status. And it's a hard time for them. So it looks like they're involved in a little bit of a crime syndicate, and the boss wants to send them off back to the Korean Peninsula to basically execute a heist, because there's all this money and just stuff just sitting around there just waiting to be took, essentially. You can imagine all the banks that are just left there, because, no one needs money there. The zombies aren't taking it. So the task is to go in, get $20 million, get back out. Team of 4, $2.5 million per head that comes back. So it's a pretty good payout. But again, you can't fully trust people like this. $2.5 million, is your part cut of the deal? What kind of a boss is gonna like pay that out? That's too good to be true. So the guys take it anyways. They go back in, and right from the get-go, things just fall apart. They don't work out for them, and you can tell like they're not being smart, they're being kind of stupid. And luckily they go at nighttime, because at nighttime the zombies basically are docile and they not really aggressive. That being said, there are some scenarios where it's dark and the zombies still go full berserk mode. It's like crazy, and that's where the action kicks in. This captain, when they find the van, the truck with all like the 20 million to get out of there, the captain is just an absolute legend. I love his aesthetic, his style. He's got the long dark hair, and he's just got this assault rifle, and he's just boom 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 boom, just popping headshots on these zombies. And like the filming, this is where it comes in. It's really cool because you see like the zombie and the angle tilts, and the zombie jumps up on the hood of the car, and the zombie guy just jumps towards the dude, and he's like bam bam, bam, bam. Like it's like a guy using aimbot. It is so smooth and just pristine. It just makes you want to just grab a rifle and just like shoot at your TV, like pretending it's a video game when you should probably just play a video game. But it's just such an intense experience just to see that, and it feels like if you have OCD and you are trying to do like a puzzle, this guy is like putting the puzzle pieces into the puzzle, and his bullets are the puzzle pieces and the zombies are the puzzle, and it's just seamless. But the overall story just kind of progresses further, and again they get divided and they encounter these crazies, and well, not crazies, I guess they were a former military detachment, and they're just a little bit bonkers, I guess, haven't been left behind. So they kind of like set them up and shoot flares out and bait a horde, and the horde goes and basically ruins their whole day. And again, the filming of like the cars just driving around, like I'm gonna say this now, and I will reiterate it later. The cars in this movie and the trucks are insanely durable. They are built to last, and they go through a lot. So unfortunately, a couple people die. The brother-in-law and the captain are still alive and well for the most part. Brother-in-law gets locked in the back of the van with all the money, and the head honchos that steal the van, they think that the van's full of food. They don't realize there's money back there, so they take it back to their camp. And then you have the other guy, the captain, who gets rescued by these two younger adults, this little girl and this other young girl, and he gets in the car. Now this girl, this is where Tokyo Drift kicks in, because she's drifting, she's doing full-on spin-arounds and like clocking her high beams on to lure zombies out into areas, and just doing amazing things, flicking her side mirrors in as she goes down narrow alleyways. Like, she is on fire with her driving, and it was so thrilling and exciting to see just her go through these hordes and just like do what she was doing. It was legendary. And the guy in the back's like getting thrown around and stuff and just rolling with it. So it's funny to see like these two characters' paths progress down different roads. And the interesting thing was there were two phones, but it was cool to see how the two phones kind of like spaced out. Pardon my yawn. Gosh, it's getting late over here. So the one brother-in-law, he winds up at this encampment, and they throw him basically into this pit arena where they have this big clock for a minute, 20 seconds, and they have numbers painted on your chest, and you got to survive that period of time and then get back into like the ball pen area to like hide out. But they put you in this arena, they place bets on you with cans of food and chocolate bars, and the the gate opens up and these zombies come out. And this was in the trailer. It was like this little pile of zombies like all pieced together and stuff, and they all crawl out together and trying to get you. It's horrifying. And you just got to avoid them and stay alive. And then if you do, then you're safe and you get to live to run another day, I guess. Just a horrifying game and arena. So that's where the brother has been condemned to. Well, the other guy, the captain, is getting the life of luxury. He's rescued by these two girls, and he's brought back to their hideout where there's like this older guy, and He's like their grandfather, and then this woman comes back. The interesting thing is, the woman that comes back is the woman that he chose to leave at the very beginning with the little girl. So that creates, right off the hop, an interesting dynamic. Now, a lot of the times with these kind of movies, I love that they're so unpredictable in the sense of where the story's going to go and how things are going to unfold. And again, I know I said earlier that the ending is my only con because it was so prolonged. I personally like it and will give it a little bit of an extra credibility because the ending has, like I said, that unpredictability factor. So it is very, very prolonged, but you don't know what is going to happen and how things are going to unfold. And I like that. I don't like this just like the one good cliche ending where everyone's happy and everything's good. You know, this film's ending had like, okay, this is a happy ending here, but now it's sad. And it's like, okay, this is how it's going to end. And all of a sudden, no, we take a left turn. Now this is happening, but this is going to like ruin the happy ending. It's sad. And then it's like, no, we have a good ending here. And then it's like, okay, well, now what's going to happen? And then this happens. And it's like, by the time you realize what's going on, it's already happened. So I like that kind of an ending. It's just, it's a very long ending to execute. So basically, these two guys have gone off on these own different adventures, and the captain basically informs his family of the plan. Like, get the money, you get out, you got to get one of the satellite phones, and then you call the boat, and you basically are scot-free. So they make a plan to go for the truck, which is now in the possession of the other guys. The other guys, which is, I think they're called like Unit 613 or something like that, the foreign military unit that set up an encampment, they don't know that there's money only in the back. They think it's just cuckoo, and they think it's all food. The only one who figures out that it's not food and money and actually talks on the satellite phone is the leader of the encampment, and he's like the commander, and he's not all there. He's a little loosey-goosey and just like kind of whack. So he sees it as an opportunity to get out, and he tries to plan and set it up where, okay, I'm going to keep everyone distracted. Well, I'll do like a 24-hour arena segment, and then he goes to like get in the truck and go with his second in command. And so by the time he goes to get into the truck and leave, the other captain and the lady are there to hijack it. So when they kind of like detain the this military unit's commander and the second in command, and then the captain learns, oh god, my brother-in-law is trapped, I gotta go for him. So he goes off and goes for him, and he's just, again, he's such a badass. Like, this zombie is gliding through the air as the brother-in-law's in the pit, and then it's just boom, headshot, and he goes down, and the captain just is standing there with the gun, and everyone else is like, whoa, what's going on? And then he's just like, whips up a smoke grenade, boom, pops it in the air, and smoke goes everywhere, and then he just looks at his brother-in-law, and he's like, stay behind me, and he just goes out, and he's like, bam, 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 and he's doing martial arts as he's fighting and shooting off. It's just so cool. And unfortunately, the brother-in-law does not make it out, and it's really sad because you definitely were rooting for him, but he doesn't make it out. So that's, again, where the lady who got in the truck smashed the wall and lets the captain basically hop in as he comes to, because he's still sad about his brother-in-law, and they drive away. And all the bad dudes of the military unit hop in their cars, and they start tailing the good guys. So this is then again where Tokyo Drift just rips right back in. So the the daughters meet up in their car with the captain and the lady in the truck, the girl's mother in the truck, and they basically form like a two vehicle escort, and they go for it. And then they catch the guys, because the guys catch up behind them, and you have zombies running in the mix, and these guys are like shooting and popping off, and it's just all this sequence is full of these guys just doing crazy car tricks and drifts and all this wacky, wild stuff that I love. Every aspect of it. It's so good. And you get like this one-on-one like tow truck kind of like vicious, like aggressive car chase against like the two girls in their car. And again, like you have like several scenes of like zombies like coming in piles towards the drivers, and like the truck's getting boom and stuck on mounds of bodies and all that, and then you have like the vehicles flashing these huge, big, high beam overhead lights on the target of the van, and the zombies just flooding in to try and get in, like the people hitting brick walls of zombie bodies and all that stuff. It's just so absolutely bonkers. And again, like I highly recommend just that scene in general is what sold me on this movie. It was just absolutely crazy. But as that progresses, you know, the bad guys get dealt with, and it is kind of ironic in how some of their ends unfold. And the good guys manage to be so close to the boat, they radio it in with a satellite phone, and all of a sudden the evil former commander, leader guy of the base, he drives in and he smashes into the girl's car and takes one of the daughters hostage, and he manages to get into the truck and drive the truck away, not before shooting the mother in the leg and then shooting and killing the grandpa. So he gets away and he drives the truck to the boat, and the goons walk out and like, oh, you got all the money back there? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And the guy's like, thank you. I'm gonna, you know, he was convinced no one would know what he was like in this old land and he'd be a good man now. So fortunately for him, the goon shot him and then told him to get rid of the body. So before the commander died, he puts the truck in reverse and he floors it so the truck backs up and was going to go off the boat. But it goes up onto the ramp and lowers the ramp down so that the horde behind him could crawl into the boat. So the boat fills up with all these zombies and starts like killing all the people and stuff before they could leave. So it backfired majorly on everyone that was involved. But it saved the lives of the main characters. So if the guy didn't steal the truck, then the main characters would have been botched. It's a shame, though, they didn't have at least one bag of the money with them. But, so now you have these characters, and I guess I should have mentioned this earlier, but the grandfather was like as well as like a military leader, the commander, and he was obsessed and a little cuckoo, but using his radio to call someone called Jane, and was convinced this lady Jane would help him. And when they got there, you see a helicopter fly overhead, and the helicopter lands, and you learn, okay, Jane is part of the United Nations and is in the helicopter to assist. So the mother looks at the guy and says, like, you owe me a favor, because the guy did actually tell the mother that, you know, I left you behind. And she went into this story how 31 cars drove by, and she was convinced the first car would pull over, but it didn't. And she thought, well, the next one will, and it didn't, and it kept going and going. And very, very sad, actually. But so now you have the helicopter anyways landing, and the mother's like, okay, you owe me this one favor. I need you to take the kids and go. Do not leave them behind. So the guy takes the kids, goes off, and then the mom jumps in this truck and hits a horn, luring the horde away from them in the helicopter. And then we get this progressively long ending of them just like slow motioning everything, and them saying like, we're gonna wait for my mom, and the mom goes to like shoot herself. And you think that's going to be the end, but then it's not. Then the guy goes back and saves the mom. The mom gets away, makes her way to the helicopter, and then the guy like barricades up some of the zombies. And then I thought, okay, well, I thought the guy was going to die now and save himself, but now we see the mom and him running back, and then you see the mom running through the smoke, and I'm thinking, oh no, they're going to think she's a zombie, and they're going to shoot her, but that didn't happen either, even though she looked like she was a zombie limping because she got shot in the leg through the smoke. But I'm glad she didn't get killed. So she makes it back there, and then the guy makes it back there. I'm thinking, okay, what's the punchline? Is there going to be anything here setting up for a sequel? But they fly off, and they fly away, and I think that's, you know, kind of... It was a good ending, and it didn't have any other like post-credit scene or anything like that. So I feel like for an anthology film in this universe, it had a good start, and it had a good end and a good middle, and it didn't set up for another sequel or anything like that, which I'm fine with. The fact that we got this alone blows my mind, because I think Train to Busan is an amazing original film, and this one, to me, it's on par with it. I thought it was great and full of crazy kookiness and just like intensity, and like I literally in the theater a few times I thought like, holy shit, or oh my god, like, oh, you gotta be kidding me moments, like, you know, you say it out loud because you're in disbelief. But it truly was just an awesome thrill ride, and I do love the development of the characters. I know the main character definitely was a little bit is a little plastered on his development in the sense where he's always the guy that survives, and he's not because he leaves people behind, but as they literally just display right in front of, bluntly to the oblivious person watching this movie that, it was the sensible thing to do, did you even try kind of a thing. So that's the main character, Captain, his journey and development is to overcome and basically become not the sensible type, but the honorable type, to do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do. And I guess, with all these other characters, most of them die off, so they don't really have much in the way of development. They're just there. I do feel like, the mom and the family, they have a little bit of development because they kind of grow and turn into pretty awesome people. And on top of that, I'm not really sure what else to cover. The story just was an awesome heist pull-off, fast car chase zombie movie. And it just blended really nicely in the elements, and the times they did use CGI, they kept it and maintained it all towards the night sequences, which I think is great. Again, if you're going to use CGI, the Jurassic Park effect, use it at nighttime, make it rainy, make it crazy weather, and that CGI is going to just mesh so much nicer, and you can use it full 10, on the board. And granted, it wasn't like it was raining or anything, but a lot of the CGI done in this movie, a lot of it was nighttime, which I'm glad because it blends so well. So, what else was there? They talked about the origin a little bit, and just, it had eeriness where you're something's gonna come and just pop out, and there's other times where and they get called idiots for good reason. Because when they were first there, they saw the driver on the truck seat of the van that they had the money in. Looking at the body, you can see the zombie's lungs breathing in his chest, and they think he's dead, so they open up the door, and the zombie's in a seatbelt, and the guy jumps on his, lap for some reason, and is, laying on the position of being spanked on the zombie, and is, trying to unbuckle a seatbelt or something, and the frickin' zombie wakes up, opens his eyes, and goes down on him to try and get him, and he's freaking out, and he splashes his hand on the horn because he's been pinned on the frickin' wheel like a frickin' moron. And the horn goes off and sounds the alarm and the dinner bell for all the other zombies. And again, they got called idiots for that. You gotta follow the zombie land rules. You gotta do the double tap. You make sure that zombie's dead, and you pop off on it. But, that's what happens, so... Again, the group of 4 that went in there, you feel good about them, but, it's unfortunate that they did get killed off as quickly as they did, because I think they would have made a cool little dynamic to the story, but, again, I like how things kind of, turned around, and that these goons weren't going to let the 2.5 million a head thing fly. They were just going to pop them either way, so it is good that they got in the helicopter, and... Yeah, there are so many moments where I like these characters, I like the story, I like the action. Overall, it was a great time, and by all means, I would totally recommend seeing this movie. I don't think you have to go see it in theaters, it's $15 a ticket, regular movie ticket price, I guess, but if you want to support it, for sure, and maybe even if you're lucky enough we get to see another one, I'd say, yeah, go for it, drop some money on it, but... I would totally say that you could probably wait till it drops on Amazon Prime or something like that, because it's a great movie, but only if you're a hardcore zombie fan do I recommend seeing it in theaters. I'm not going to recommend it to everyone out there, because I don't want that on my conscience of being responsible for your $15 that you spent on a movie ticket. But if it's on Amazon Prime, or if it's on any kind of streaming platform that you're already subscribed to, then yes, take the time, sit down, put it on, make sure the kids are tucked away, not watching, unless they're into that, then let them watch whatever, but it's a good time, it is fun, and, bring someone along with you. I had good company with me when I watched it, and it's just, there's moments where you kind of, have a good chuckle, and you're kind of just wow, I'm in awe, and it's just, at the end you can talk about just the story, and just the events that happen, and it was good, it was really, really good, so... I would probably give this movie an 8 out of 10, and the only reason I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 is because I'm docking at 2 points just for the very prolonged ending. It just would kick in on one pathway, So I just hit the mic there. I kick it on one pathway, and then it would have like the soft end scene score music play, and then it would pick up again. I'm like, okay, well, that's not the ending, and then it would do it again. The sad score music, okay, this is the ending. Nope, it picks up again, and then finally the score sad music. No, it picks up again. So it's like hard to kind of get a read, but I don't give it more of a negativity or more of a negative rating, because that does work in its favor, where you can't predict, what's going to happen. So I think that works in its favor. I love the Korean take of the zombie and their style and their aesthetic and their filming. Again, I feel like they used drones at the yin yang. There were so many revolving shots as they were driving, and different angles, and just kind of different the way that they just tackled the filming style and the aesthetic, and the zombies themselves was just so well done and so good, and I couldn't get enough of it, and I want more. I can't wait for Kingdom Season 3 whenever that comes out. And I hope that we get more Korean style filmed zombie flicks as well, and just more Train to Busan, I think, is exactly what we need. More, I would almost be prone to say just a little bit less North American zombie flicks. Not that I have a problem with that, but just more different takes. Heck, give us a Russian. There's probably is a Russian zombie flick, and if you know of any, let me know, because I'd be curious. But different takes on it from different countries, I guess, because we've got China with Kingdom and Japan, and we have Korea with Train to Busan now and such. And I'd love to see different takes. Even World War Z feels. I know it's American, but it feels very much like a little bit or it's around the world in that sense, and it has different cultures impacted by the virus, and that's what I would like to see. And again, different studios from different parts of the world helming different zombie projects and movies, and just kind of get that take and different kind of atmosphere and filming. I think it'd be very, very cool. So yeah, hopefully we get more variety into the zombie franchise and media out there. Again, I love zombies. I'm a big Call of Duty Zombies fan, and yeah, you never have too much. So that is going to be my review of Train to Busan Peninsula. It has been a hot diggity time since I've seen Train to Busan, and I've been motivated now. I'm probably going to pop it on one of these days here and just rewatch it for the heck of it. Yeah, until then, though, what do you have to look forward to? We got the Nolan retro we're doing in celebration of Tenet by Christopher Nolan. So I believe the next one that you'll be able to tune into is The Prestige, which I can't wait to talk about that, because I've never seen it before, and I mean, it was pretty awesome. It was a pretty wild, wacky ending. I feel like, well, I'm not going to say it. If you want to know my thoughts, I got some crazy theories about the movie. Make sure you check into our retrospective episode of The Prestige for the Christopher Nolan retrospective. On top of that, we've been streaming a lot of Call of Duty lately, Modern Warfare, and that's always a good time. Travis may or may not divulge into a mini review, possibly for the new Avengers game. I believe he's been indulging in the beta, and I believe he's having a good time, because he doesn't answer my calls anymore, and he doesn't want to play Call of Duty with me anymore. So, who knows what's going on there. Avengers, man, Avengers. Any other content we have? I believe we got a couple of big things down in the pipeline working their way up that I think the fans, you guys, are definitely really going to enjoy. We got some cool concepts and things that we're scheming around in behind the scenes over here at the Geekverse podcast. So, yeah, I won't divulge yet. I will... Well, no, I don't know if we're celebrating that yet. We did hit a milestone, but I won't say what the milestone is, because that's definitely a milestone I want to share with the other geeks and with all you at the same time. But whenever we get together for our next news episode, it'll definitely be mentioned, and make sure you tune into that, because it is awesome. We're super pumped to actually share it with you guys and just celebrate it and just kind of boast about it, because it is an awesome achievement, and it would not have happened without you guys. So, yeah. I guess I'm just rambling at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us in the search bar, Geekverse Space Podcast, Geekverse.ca for all of our content, Facebook, Geekverse Podcast, Twitter, Geekverse Cast, anywhere on the internet. You can find us. Make sure you check us out on Patreon to review our new tiers that we have. You can get into one of those higher tiers where you can actually pick a movie and we'll do a live watch-along commentary track with the geeks. You can actually talk to us, laugh with us, a movie of your choosing. Heck of a good time. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I am Taylor Field, and I will see you in the search bar. Have a good one.